I begun today thinking that Solar Warlock very well could have been the most busted subclass in the entire game based on the way I get bent over and put on a platter by it every single weekend, and I'm kinda right. I kinda proved to myself a certain point, and that point being it's really easy to be really annoying using Solar Warlock. And today, after my adventure in the Grandmaster Nightfall, I decided that I was going to try something a little bit funky that I have literally never done before today, and it is probably the most crazy return on investment that I have seen in my time playing Destiny. The ease of access and the ease of use of everything related to Solar Warlock combined with its power make me think that it legitimately has a case for being the most broken subclass in the entire game for casuals and for professionals alike. The skill floor is so low and the skilling is so high that anybody can do this, and the tools you need to access and unlock this build are incredibly abundant and super easy to get into. Just for a quick overview of the build we're doing today, very simple Ophidian aspect with the weapons Witherhoard and Ama AR2. These were the ones I had the most fun with. I tried No Time to Explain, Revision 0. I was using Conditional Finality for a while, Unyielding Tempest, even Osteo Striker for a while, and same thing with the secondaries. I was switching it up with Glaciochasm, Igneous Hammer, Philo, and Fellwinter's Lie, but these are the ones I enjoyed the most using. And for the subclass aspects, Heat Rises and Icarus Dash and the Fragments, Ember of Torches, Ember of Tempering, Ember of Benevolence, and Ember of Solace, with the Healing Grenade, Celestial Fire, Burst Glide, and Healing Rift. I cannot stand Phoenix Dive, so I cannot use Phoenix Dive. I just can't stand it. So that's what we're doing for the build. Very simple, very easy. This is what I was using for the mods, and back to the yap. Starting off real quick, nearly every single engagement that I was picking fights with started with activating Heat Rises. It is just that dominant of a playstyle, just the trickiness of being able to just floof in the air and have that immediate overwhelming advantage of just forcing your opponent to look up. Now, I had been done dirty by this build before in the past. I didn't think it was going to be this brain dead easy to use. Now, for weapons, I was using for most of the time Amit. Many of you remember this thing as being the source of a lot of commotion during the recent quote-unquote crafting incident that happened a couple months ago. But it is low-key one of the most, if not the most, solid assault rifles in the entire game. It is just milky, silky smooth, and it just has everything you need. Low recoil, high accuracy. It hits as hard as anything else, and anything it could be. And it's time to kill rivals anything else in the game, with the exception of sweaty people hot swapping between bows and hand cannons. I'm talking to you, Hunter. Eventually, I switched over to Witherhoard when I was using this build, and as much as I like Conditional Finality, the playstyle with that weapon is just not up to snuff with the essentially AC-130 Death from Above playstyle. This works really, really, really well on open maps. If you try to use it on anything even remotely close, you're gonna get blown out. The playstyle that this setup allows is intentionally slow. It's not for you momentum freaks. You really, really have to be patient. You have to wait for cooldowns. You have to basically spam abilities as often as you're getting them, and you have to take advantage of the fact that players aren't expecting you to be flying on angles that are outside of the map and getting those tricky little team shot opportunities. And also with the Celestial Fire, it is pre-firing it, anticipating, and this thing, it's not direct on hit. It has a little bit of a splash radius to it, so when you're hitting people, you're going to be hitting them around corners, and you'll have that little extra bit of radiant damage that you can get into. I found that this worked best on maps that had tall walls. Things that you normally wouldn't expect players to be able to jump through. And I proved my theory right to myself, and I also proved it wrong. It's just what I preferred when I was playing this. I didn't have any trouble with anything. I appreciated being able to use solar for once because stasis was never a problem. The only time it was a problem was getting hit with a silence and squall underneath a well. A single time I was under the impression that you were effectively invincible even after getting hit with the silence and squall tornado, but I digress. Now, where would I rank this subclass compared to others? In terms of fun factors, it's kind of give or take. I mean, I enjoy it when the game is faster, so even though I found everything I was doing to be tremendously effective, even when I'm whiffing shots and shooting walls, just abusing the fact that I have 40 rounds and only need minimum 7 of them to kill anything. But whenever I did try to play fast, you can find yourself very easily getting into situations where you're over-floofing and you're just as exposed as it is possible to be. The Warlock floof is really unforgiving, even with Icarus Dash, even with Phoenix Dive. It's just something to watch out for. This is the part of what I do where everyone usually gets mad at me. I originally wanted to be making this on the Solar Titan, however, I was just getting so frustrated getting killed by a Solar Warlock just in the air that I decided I had to shift my focuses, and it's good. It's really good, but it is not better than Strand Hunter from what I found. Now, my theory right now is that I think Void Titan is going to be the best subclass in the entire game. However, what I saw in my own experiences playing Solar Warlock using both Well of Radiance and Dawnblade. I don't have a lot of Dawnblade clips, however, I was using it. I did put enough time into this to get a feel for all the possible playstyles. I'm just showing off the one that I thought to be the most fun. So that's where I'm ranking it. I think that it is broken. The name of the broken tier might not be so appropriate, maybe busted. However, I am just going to keep it as being in the broken tier. It is by far the best subclass I have used for Warlock, and I might have judged it a tad bit too early because I still have to use the Strand Warlock, but I don't think it's going to be better given what I know about the state of the game and the state of Strand Warlock right now. Just to end things off real quickly, I would recommend this build to anybody and everybody who wants to change things up a little bit. For Warlocks, you already know how good it is. For everybody else, just give it a try. Like, be on the dark side for just a minute and play an overpowered class. Now, I just want to say, if you're around watching this video, thank you very much. I do appreciate you watching these things. I'm going to very shamelessly plug the last video I just made right here. So if you haven't seen that already, I'd recommend giving that a watch if you're interested in Grandmaster content. And apart from that, thank you all for watching, and talk to you next time.